Hello everyone, I'm Derek. This is There Will Be Cars. Welcome to the channel. So if you've been on There Will Be Cars before, you might have seen one of my recent videos where I went with my girlfriend to from Austin to El Paso in a 2020 Wrangler Sahara EcoDiesel. This trip is different in a lot of ways. Now, we are in an FCA vehicle with an EcoDiesel engine. We are on the way to El Paso, but there are a lot of differences between that trip in the Wrangler and this one. For starters, we're in a 2020 Ram Rebel with the EcoDiesel, and we're not only going to El Paso, but we're going even further. This is going to be an out-of-state trip. So we're actually going to end up in the Phoenix area to visit my fiance's family. And another key difference is we have company this time. That company is a very special guest. It's our cat, Gracie. Say hi, Gracie. Now, Gracie has a connection to FCA as well. Gracie is what you would call a foster fail. Within, I'd say, probably 2 hours of having her at the house, we realized, yeah, we want to adopt her. We don't want her leaving. You know, we want her to stay with us. So we formally adopted her. And when we picked her up, it was in an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. So her middle name is Julia. So far, the Rebel EcoDiesel has been incredibly comfortable. Part of that is just the fact that the new Ram trucks are very smooth riding, very comfortable, very pleasant to be in for long stretches of time. And I previously took a Rebel EcoDiesel from Austin up to Dallas, down to Fort Worth, and back to Austin. That was a different truck. It had the steel springs on it, but still very cushy. This truck is loaded up even more. So got a lot of road trip friendly features, one of which is adaptive cruise control. So that makes these long distances a little less stressful, a little more convenient because I don't have to manage the following distance. So I can just set the speed in the gap in front of us, and that takes care of it. And then there's the fact that this has the four-corner air suspension. And I've always thought these new Rams, even with the steel springs, are very comfortable, but you get even more of a cushy ride with the air suspension. And then it lowers itself into a more long-distance friendly aero mode. And you're probably wondering what kind of fuel economy I'm getting. And that brings up another difference between this road trip in the Rebel EcoDiesel and the Wrangler EcoDiesel. Some of you were disappointed with the fact that I didn't hand calculate the fuel economy that I got in that Wrangler. Well, that's changed with this road trip. When we left the gas station, we were at 217.7 miles. And the onboard computer said like 19.6. I put 11.66 gallons in after 217.7 miles. And when you hand crunch the numbers, that gives you I would say a significantly different fuel economy figure of 18.67. So it's almost 1 mile per gallon off of what the onboard computer was showing. But keep in mind, the speed limit out here on a lot of stretches of I-10 is 80. And so doing 80, 85, you know, you are gonna go through fuel a little more quickly. But yeah, first stop, we're at 18.67 miles per gallon, hand calculated for all you sticklers out there. Just wanted you to know that I've listened to what you've said, and I'm hoping to make this road trip a little more informative in terms of the real world mileage of this new EcoDiesel engine. We stopped for a comfort break, so I thought I'd give you another look at some of the road trip friendly features in this truck. You get the nice, clear, easy to read main gauges. Then you've got the multi-information display there in the middle. got a variety of readouts, including the tire pressure, air suspension mode, and all your temperatures. Very nice to have. This came in handy yesterday when Ram had the truck delivered to me. You got your depth gauge there. So when it showed up in the center screen, it said 420 miles until I can't start the truck anymore because it was low on DEF fluid. So I went and got a 2.5 gallon container of it from Walmart, put it all in, and then that range shot up to 3,150 miles. And obviously we've sawed into some of that range. But yeah, popped it up about 2,700 miles for like $8 or $9. And I figure by the time we're done with this trip, we'll put about 2,500 or more miles on this truck. And right there you got the main gauges. So before we set out from Austin today, range on the computer was about 540 miles, and then the last time we filled up was about 560, at least according to that gauge. Then you got the nice, easy to reach controls right there. And this particular truck has the Rebel 12 group, so got the 12-inch Uconnect screen right there, and it's in split screen mode right now, so you got the nav up top and then the climate controls. We've ended up using almost every square inch inside and outside of this truck, so that's a good spot to hold my mask while I drive, and it's easy to reach when I need it, when we have to pull over for a comfort break or something like that. Right here, got the USBs. Fiance's running her phone and her music and maps, hand sanitizer, fiance's mask, drinks, and of course you can slide this. Got my receipts right here and some magazines, paperwork, stuff like that, and all the vet paperwork for Gracie, so that when we check into a hotel, she's ready to go. In this spot right here, carry a couple of drinks, always useful on these long trips, and then umbrella just in case. Back here, got some winter jackets that we're taking out there. Gracie's food, her backpack. Gracie, say hi. There's her pretty green eyes. And then we got snacks and some stuff for her little mobile home there, and a cooler. And on this side, got my briefcase, camera bag, fiance's overnight bag, duffel bag, plenty of water. Cover the seats in a towel just in case. And then we even got some more stuff under the seat. The way Ram configured this truck, they put almost every sort of cargo management add-on on this truck. So you got the RamBoxes, which of course put stuff in. So got a tire inflator there, planner, and then they got a little funnel for the DEF tank. Right there. Got some more stuff in this one. This is just car cleaning supplies for photos. And then people who'd driven this before me, they had a jug of distilled water, so I just threw that back here. And as you can see, it's got the multi-function tailgate, soft drop, fiance suitcase, mine right there, and then Gracie's automatic robotic litter box right there, and then some lampshades behind the cargo divider. And then, as you can see, this also has the 3-piece folding tonneau cover. All right, so we're on the road again after another comfort break. Didn't fill up with gas this time, and so it's going to be a little while until I give you another hand-calculated fuel economy figure, because according to this, at least, we got 420 miles of range, so don't need to fill up anytime soon. Only did it last time to give you an idea of what the actual fuel economy numbers are, but yeah, I got plenty of range. We've got about 3 hours to go now. We're in Fort Stockton, headed to El Paso. So I touched on a few things that make this a long-distance friendly kind of truck, but of course the main one is the fact that it has the EcoDiesel engine, the new 3-liter EcoDiesel V6. Stats on that, if you don't already know: 260 horsepower, 480 pound-feet of torque. One of my earlier videos when I first drove the 2020 Ram 1500 EcoDiesel broke down all of the new parts. Obviously, diesels are designed to be more fuel efficient, but also this truck has a 33-gallon tank on it. So when you consider the fact that new EcoDiesel Rams with four-wheel drive have a estimated fuel economy of 29 miles per gallon on the highway, and you do the math with a 33-gallon tank, you get a significant range. Now, I'm definitely not going to try to milk every last drop out of this tank. I don't want to take that chance, but you know, when it's convenient and it makes sense, I'm going to fill up the tank and then crunch the numbers and show you what kind of fuel economy this is really getting. Typically, when my fiance and I make the drive from Austin to El Paso, at least in the past, we've listened to like a lot of Bob Seger, Jackson Browne, and a little, you know, more modern music mixed in as well. But and the Eagles too. The Eagles, Jackson Browne, and Bob Seger typically are in the rotation. But this time we've changed it up. We've listened to Drake, Kendrick Lamar, the Hamilton soundtrack. That makes me wonder, when you all go on road trips, what kind of music do you listen to? Who are your favorite artists for long road trips? And another question, for those of you who have spent a lot of time in these new Ram 1500s, have you noticed, I mean, maybe it's just me, but do any of you out there who have driven the new Ram 1500s feel that the turn signal stalk is just a little too short? I've driven plenty of these and I've got long fingers, and it always feels like when I need it, it feels like it's a quarter inch too short. It's a weird thing, I know, but that's something that I notice every time I drive one of these new Rams. Am I alone here, or have you all noticed it too? Let me know in the comments below. In terms of ride quality and noise insulation, this is a pretty smooth, serene truck. I mean, there's not a ton of wind noise coming off of the mirrors, and they're a good size. I mean, they stick out nice and far, you know, right height, right width. They give me peace of mind looking into the next lane. But mainly the main noise I get out of this truck is the tires, but it kind of makes sense. You get the 33-inch all-terrain tires, and you do get some hum after a while. It's not something that I noticed on my trip from Austin to Fort Worth and back, oddly enough, in that Ram Rebel, but I've definitely picked up on it in this. I gotta say, the crosswinds out here on the way to El Paso, especially when you're passing one of a million semi-trucks along the way, can be really severe. And I remember the crosswinds being really rough on the Wrangler, but it makes sense. It's a big, boxy vehicle. You can still feel them even in this Ram, but they're not nearly as pronounced. At the 2.5 hour mark, less than 200 miles to go. Good morning, everyone. So we got to El Paso, got to our hotel there. By the time we were all set up, we'd put a total of 594 miles on the Rebel EcoDiesel. Now that's the onboard computer's fuel economy estimate, but I haven't topped off the tank again yet. So when I do, I'll be sure to hand crunch the numbers, give you the real fuel economy of this truck. I'm going to get a chance to do that pretty soon, because today we're going to be driving from El Paso through New Mexico to the Phoenix area. So once we stop off and I fill up the tank, I'll let you know. Welcome to New Mexico. I know it's not much of a sight right now. We're just at a gas station because it was finally time to put fuel in the Ram Rebel. Topped it off. I put 500.5 miles on this truck since our last fuel stop, and this time I put in 25.77 gallons of diesel. When you crunch the numbers for that stint, it's 19.42 miles per gallon. Okay, everyone. Well, we've got almost another 350 miles to go until our destination. So, in the meantime, I thought I would ask you what some of your favorite road trip memories are. You know, I remember, and it's diesel related, back in the early 2000s going with a buddy of mine and his family all the way from Austin to Greeley, Colorado. His dad had a 2002 F350 dually with the 7.3 Power Stroke in it. And my pal and I were in the back the whole way just watching TV, and I think he brought like a little TV, and I think he connected his PlayStation to it. And yeah, I just remember, you know, watching TV, playing that, and then just falling asleep to the roar of that Power Stroke diesel. It's nice to take a long out-of-state trip like this in another diesel truck. Not quite as hoss as a dually, but it is a lot of fun. So yeah, you know, if you all have a favorite road trip memory, feel free to leave it in the comments below. So we're finally in Arizona. We've been in Arizona for a while actually, because one thing that I've learned when you're going about 80-85 miles an hour from El Paso to Arizona, New Mexico seems to pass like that. I thought it would be a little more picturesque. I'm sure in certain areas it is, but the route we took, it was a whole lot of nothing. I mean, you saw some mountains in the distance, but by the time you got an eyeful of those, you're through the entire state. So yeah, now we're in Arizona, less than 2 hours to go. And yeah, another big lesson. As much as I love driving, I'm at the point now where I want to get there. This is a very comfortable truck. It's got a long cruising range thanks to the 33-gallon tank. I've got wonderful company, plenty of music to listen to, but yeah, I'm at the point now. And I'm sure you heard it in Gracie earlier. She was meowing a lot earlier. She's totally over it, and I'm at the same spot. I just want to get there. Here we are in Peoria, outside of Phoenix. And if any of you are wondering, no, I will not be trying to take the Ram Rebel up that rough terrain, but we'll be putting it to a little bit of work. I'll show you what I'm talking about. The local Goodwill accepts box springs and mattresses, so we're going to take a set over there once they open up. And to fit them into the back of the truck, had to fold back the folding tonneau cover, which was really easy. The latches are really simple to throw and to store out of the way. And then you can snap this clip, these two ends of the clip together to make sure the tonneau cover stays folded. The only little problem was when I was undoing this piece came right off from around this metal piece right here, so I had to fit it back into place. I guess I used a little too much force on it. I was hoping it would stay in place, but I was able to fit it back around here. And yeah, snap everything into place, keep it nice and tidy. And fortunately, this is a twin size, so you know, the RamBoxes eat up a certain amount of bed width, but that wasn't a problem because it's a twin size bed. Just slid it into the back. So we're taking surface streets. We're not gonna go on the highway, but still wanted to strap it down, obviously. And these sliding cleats made securing the load a lot easier because I could just pull this out, slide it all the way down to the end of the rail, and then screw it and tighten it into place. So we just crisscrossed it from the top there to these built-in loops right there, and then just did the same from the opposite side. And I made sure to lower the air suspension to entry exit height, just to make putting everything in the back of the truck a little easier. And thanks to the flip up seats and the enormous cabin, we're able to fit an entire office chair in the second row, so we can donate that as well. We're getting into Sedona. Wow, gorgeous. If you look down there, you'll see the road that we took to get up here. Worth the trip. It is just stunning out here. Another gorgeous view here. And this really has been a wonderful vehicle for this trip because it's a big, rough, rugged pickup truck, you know, and you got that diesel roar, so it fits the surroundings. It's roomy and spacious on the inside, and it's got a great cruising range. I'll get back to you about that a little more later on. What a trip. As you can see here, put in a total of nearly 26 gallons, and since the last fill up, put about 536 miles on the truck. Crunch the numbers, and that stint, I got an actual fuel economy of 20.9 miles per gallon. So far, the Ram Rebel has just been a great vehicle to do all this long distance driving in. It's comfortable, it's got a long cruising range, but as with any vehicle, the more time I spend in it, the more little things I find that kind of rub me the wrong way. And like I said, little things. Like the more I use this door handle, the more I feel the flex in the back here. It almost feels like it wants to, you know, kind of come apart. Like there's some play between the back and the front. Again, a little thing. And then this gauge pod here is great. I mean, it's easy to read. You've got the digital speedo up there, and then you can go to a different readout that shows it even larger, like that. And then you've got all these little readouts that you can toggle between in the vehicle info menu. But I have looked and looked and looked, and I cannot find in this display any sort of readout for the range left in the DEF tank. Now, when I initially put 2.5 gallons in it, it showed quickly on the screen that I boosted the range of the DEF tank to 3,150 miles. But right there, obviously, you can see there's no digital readout. And I have looked and looked and looked in this menu, and I have not been able to find one unless I add to the actual tank. And here's another small issue that I have with this truck. So it's got the available 4-corner air suspension. And when you go into the menu, you have all these various settings for, you know, how to configure it. But one thing that I wish they would offer is the option of making the suspension lower when you put the transmission in park. Because, you know, it does have this handy toggle switch there, and right now I've set it to the entry exit mode, which, you know, obviously lowers the truck to make it a little easier to get inside and to unload, you know, and it's especially helpful for shorter people, you know, and then you've got the running boards on the outside. But to me, it would be even more seamless if you could set it to go to entry exit mode when you put the truck in park. Hate to say it, everyone, but the trip is over. We're leaving the Phoenix area, heading to El Paso today, and then tomorrow we're headed back to Austin. What a trip. It was a lot of fun. Just saw more of the natural beauty of Arizona, had great time with family, a lot of great food. So before we head to El Paso on the way out, we made sure to stop and fill up the tank. Computer's showing we have a range of 676 miles. And of course I made sure to hand calculate the fuel economy. So right now, this last trip we did 267.3 miles. I just put in almost 13 gallons, and based on those numbers, for this stint, we've got a fuel economy of nearly 21 miles per gallon. Okay, everyone, we're in New Mexico now, and had to stop for a comfort break. Thought it would be a good chance to put more diesel in the truck. And also had to stop no matter what anyway, because we were getting low on DEF fluid. So when we pulled over, we had 320 miles to go on the DEF tank. So had a pretty good range there, but you know, I still thought, you know what, just do it all at once. Topped off, put 2.5 gallons of DEF fluid in the tank, filled up the diesel fuel. So let's take a look at our newest round of fuel economy. So far we have over 1,800 miles on the truck just from this trip. This most recent stint traveled 291.4 miles, put almost 14 gallons in, crunch the numbers. Our fuel economy's gone up a little bit, so we're even closer to 21 miles a gallon. Here we are in Las Cruces. We got less than an hour to go until El Paso. And I've got to say, one thing I've noticed out on this route is, of course, there's a lot of big, heavy trucks moving freight, but I've seen a lot of Ram trucks. Certain areas are Ram truck country, and of course, you know, I've seen the light duty ones, but I've seen a lot of the heavy duty Cummins powered dualies doing work. So we're definitely not alone out here in a diesel powered Ram truck. We got a very late start to filming today, but that doesn't really matter because we've got about 300 miles to go until we're to Austin anyway. So I've got plenty of time to show you some more useful, cool features in this truck. So as you can see, this has the 12-inch display that's part of the Rebel 12 package. And one really cool feature about that, you can see it down low there, is it shows you what city you're in, but also shows you the next exit coming up and how far away it is. So in case you need to pull over, or you need to take a bathroom break, or you get a flat tire or something like that, you know where the next exit is and how far away it is. One thing I've noticed about this truck, and I've noticed it about a lot of other vehicles with speed limit cameras, is that for the most part, this nails the speed limit. But if you pass through like a construction zone or an area where the speed limit changes, and for some reason they post the speed limit signs down lower, which we've passed through a few of those on this trip, it won't catch it. It's really good about catching the speed limit signs at their, I guess you could say, regulation height, but any sort of deviation from that, it's not really going to pick up on the speed limit. But that's true of a lot of other vehicles. There you have it, everyone. The end of the trip. We got into Austin last night, and it turns out there was a power outage on our block. So the trip ended up being a little bit longer than planned. Luckily, we were able to stay with some family up in Round Rock, north of Austin. That unexpected trip puts our final mileage at 2,646.3.